Kisukike, Hutsukokaniko Okanis now Samyitki, Hugak like Barbara Fisher. Wow, to be at the podium for a second time in 1 year, yes, such an honor. Honestly, I didn't prepare for this at all. I did, though, think about not running as I saw the nominee list and began thinking the same thing everyone else was thinking. And then I thought, what is that going to prove? That I can think the same as others? That my self-growth and teachings are almost as easily gifted thrown away? I started asking myself, is it worth running? What do I have to offer to the community? And I did ask myself, why, again, did you accept your nomination? Again, I still and will always and strongly believe every voice is highly important when moving forward. Chief and council need to start engaging in having the conversations with the voices that feel as if they are no longer heard. Communication is what drives great leadership, and without all our people's input on sound decisions, we cannot grow towards healthier opportunities without identifying the needs and wants from all of our people. As the COVID has begun, the communication was lost with the people off reserve and others trying to make a life in other areas away from the reservation. They started to feel unheard and unaware a problem happened and their livelihood was unraveling rapidly because of the incompetence of the employees of our band. This should not have happened and accountability should have been sought and the criminal act punished as well. Social media shouldn't have been where we had to see that a problem was happening. Issues raised and nothing happened and nothing accomplished. Pushed under the rug and let's vote, passive vote. Okay, once again, we continue to think for ourselves and not to the members that opened up that day and the real issues for on-reserve members, which are the same as off-reserve members. Everything that has happened within the band affects those that live off reserve too. I feel to better understand and to continue wanting change, I need to be more involved with my band so my children do not have to inherit the same issues. As of the band meeting, I thought of all the things that needed to be addressed and can I contribute? Like I said, everything I believe needs immediate attention, or as noted. Healing needs to start happening as we heard the story of an elder that under no pressure opened up about addiction in one of her many stories of survival and what justice needs to be raised for issues like abuse, sexual, physical, mental, and spiritual, and addiction. How will we accomplish this? Making a place for our people to feel safe to talk about their stories, hurts, fights, and everyday struggles. Not a healing center. We all know those don't work. Think bigger. With community input, we can make this place a reality. Elders group versus elders advisory committee. Elders group are a nice way to get together and talk about the youthful times and what the youth nowadays are lacking. Letting off some venting over coffee and talking about what they used to do, things back in the days, what worked and what didn't. Being judgmental and being a problem, not the solution. This is reference to some comments and conversations. Elders Advisory Committee. As I have been working closely with my elders for the past 3 years, I have grown a strong heritage background and huge respect for the hardship they endured throughout the years. To be here with language and culture today, these three elders taught me to seek a better future. They have told me hurtful stories and wrongful doings from abuse, sexually, mentally, physically, spiritually. They have told me stories of the hurts that are still going on today because of the lack of Tanaka history among our own people. They have continuously reminded me that we have to remember our past and continue to practice our traditional ways and how important it is to continue to learn and speak the women have been able to connect the legends I have read to the places within their territory, not for personal gain, but to connect and fight for rights, laws, and many other political acts that will gain our people more responsibility and
10 seconds.
and can work towards self-governing. So there are many other issues, as in housing. Housing will always be an issue, as I want to be one that comes back to the reserve. Economic. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. It's a little bit fast paced. Okay, we'll get used to this. Darcy Fisher.
Okay, so you get so cooking now son me okay we got Darcy Fisher in Tanaka, and I'm from the Iskanook First Nation. I pondered my decision to be here and to put myself out there again as a counselor after seeing what has gone on this last month and a half, whenever since beginning of July there, and a lot of the things that have happened in the community. I've been here before as a counselor for the 4 years, and I've given what I can to the community. So to be sitting here again and taking the stuff that comes with it takes a strong person, and I'm glad to see that there's 5 of us here who are willing to put themselves out there for the betterment of the community so that we can move forward. It's unfortunate the events that did happen in this last little while, as the dreams and vision of the past council, we were moving forward in a good way, opening the reserve for all members, wherever they reside, to have a voice and to have an input within the ongoings of the Akiskimik First Nation, to feel like they could meet their education goals, to meet their job goals, to come home and to be a part of the community, to be a part of that difference that was being made. We had a strong vision for our community, and we were going towards that, and it stopped. Whether it was COVID or there are things that were really membership was mad about, whatever was going on, our vision was to not leave anybody behind, to be able to make sure that there was input for everybody, with all the committees, with all the policies and procedures that we had reviewed by membership, to be able to move forward. That was a goal, that was a dream, to move forward and to have the organizational restructure that benefited everybody from the community. I would like to be a part of a team that is going to continue that dream, to continue that vision, to always be forward moving, forward thinking, to think about our more vulnerable demographics. Everybody has a voice and a purpose within our community. And there were long discussions at some of our meetings when we talk about the benefit of our community and all people. We go right to the youngest, right to the oldest, and we ensure that each decision we're making is for those people moving forward. We're only placeholders in these seats. And when we leave these seats, we hope to leave them better than we found them. And unfortunately, through a by-election, we're taking seats that weren't left better than we found them. And we're going to do a lot of work to clean up these seats, to clean up the image of the Akisknuknik. It's all right to disagree. We don't have to agree on everything. But the thing we should agree on is that we want to move forward. We want to change. We want to inspire our people. We want to celebrate with our people. Language, culture, identity, past traumas, these kind of things are what we want to move forward from, to remove barriers, not to put up barriers for our people, not to fight on Facebook, not to find things to put on Facebook and say this is the truth. Go to those people, talk to them. All I can say is I've been here before. I've been here through by-elections. I was chief for 30 days. I've been here before, and I want to be able to move forward, and I want to take our people with us past into that vision, And I want them to lead us after we're done in these seats. I don't want to have to be in these seats for 20 years, 30 years. I think we all want success for our people. Tuchas.
Thank you, Darcy. Alan Nicholas. We'll get you to unmute your microphone.
How's that?
Good. Go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for attending. To all the participants out in Zoom land and the candidates here on Zoom. Welcome. And for the first, I'd like to pass on my condolences to my wife and I to the family of Nelson Phillips in the recent passing of dad, uncle, grandfather. He'll be sadly missed in the community. I remember stories of him playing when we were playing hockey and sports and everything together. It'll be a great loss. And yes, we've been here before, and nothing's really changed since a few months that we've been off. Other than gave me time to read up on more of the paperwork, more of the credentials, more of the policies, more. I've just been reading up on Helder's report here for the last few days, last week and stuff. And like Darcy was saying too, change is coming. It's just a matter of how we want to accept it. I felt maybe a lot of people were scared of change just the way it happened so fast. And if it was done differently, maybe it would have taken hold and we wouldn't be in this predicament we are in. My values of being on council are the same as me as my small business owner, as the day-to-day operations of my own business. I'm honest, truthful, respectful. I take things very seriously when it comes to policies and procedures and everything like that, because it's in the business of dealing with outside world, with large corporations and companies and human resource issues with staff members. I deal with that, but there's only one of me in that position, so I don't have a range of people to call upon and to deal with HR policy and stuff. I had stuff written down, but it's hard to say it now, because at the time I thought of it and wrote it down, it meant something different. I just want to be able to speak openly and honestly and let people know that I will uphold the fiduciary duties of a council member and be honest, respectful, and to be transparent, as to me, to show people in the next 3 years, 4 years, depending on the term, that it's how it should be done. But yet get along with everybody. The Kiskonukniks are important. Everybody's important. Everybody's values and needs are different. I mean, the off reserve, on reserve story always comes to play, but it's just a matter of we're all individuals, families, that we have to work together and stuff, not rely on policies and certain things to dictate to people and say, you're off reserve, you can't get it because there's no funds for it, or you're on reserve. I've come across issues in some of the old chief and council meeting minutes that really caused me to concern that to raise questions about some of the actions of some decision makings in the past. A lot of that stuff would have came out in the AGA that we're going to hold if we hold it, or in the financial audit reports at the end of the year, because when I found it and found out there was no backing information or no decision making, honest thinking, it wasn't about the membership. When it considers, you bring up lots of dollar figures, large dollar amounts, membership needs to know about it. And there's been some decision making or haste decisions made
1 minute.
through some of the old meetings. What was that?
You
Oh,
have
okay.
45 seconds left.
Okay. So, but basically it's, will uphold my duties as a council member to everybody, honestly, fairly, respectfully, and transparently. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. Ryan Nicholas?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I just want to say I didn't have too much time to prepare for all this stuff. Been a busy week for me and the family and stuff. So I just wanted to give it my best anyways and just give everybody a little heads up on what I plan on doing for the community and for the nation and everything like that. So first of all, I just want to say hello to the Kiskanik members and everybody that's attending and, you know, taking the time out of their Friday evening to, you know, help us out to decide on what we would need to get done here. First off, I just want to thank Clayton Nicholas for my nomination. I want to Lucille Shovar for my second. Clayton and I have been on multiple sports teams together in the Kootenays. We were on a team that fielded the first soccer team to come out of the David Thompson Secondary School in 15 years. Lucille Shovar has been my neighbor of our house for the family house for all my life. I've known her. I've known really close with her and everybody else that's come in and out of that area. Now, I just want to give a brief introduction. My name is Ryan Phillip Nicholas. I was brought up in the on the Columbia Lake First Nation, now known as the Kiskanik First Nation, in the Ktunaxa Nation. Graduated from David Thompson Secondary in 2002. I have foundation and I have a carpentry certificate level 1, which I got from Thompson Rivers University in Kamloops, which I have been putting back into the community since the last election. I've always been a protector and a leader for various sports teams. Our Nicholas teams have traveled in BC for hockey, for fastball, slow pitch. You know, I just want to put my energy, enthusiasm back into the valley and to help move forward as a community for our Ktunaxa people. We as a community and Ktunaxa people need to stand together to be strong and overcome any obstacles that are coming towards us in the future. After working in the community with Think Bright Homes and seeing the work being done and being hands-on with the work being done to the homes in the community, just puts a smile on my face, just knowing that, you know, it's getting done properly and, you know, we're putting money back into our communities for our houses and for our people and stuff like that. So I just want to offer everything that I have, you know, put on the table with my experiences on and off reserve out of the community for 15 years. I just want to help, you know, build a solid foundation for our community to move forward with. In conclusion, I'd just like to be a part of helping our community fulfill people's needs and wants to help us become a whole as a community again. The more we want to move on and move on and representing our nation and our people as the strong Ktunaxa people we are. I just want to thank everybody again that nominated me, and just want to thank everybody for taking the time and listening to me, and hopefully we can move forward as a whole. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan. Rosemary Phillips. Sorry, Rosemary, I have to go again.
Do I restart it?
Can you restart? I will restart the timer. Go ahead. We'll restart the time.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Kisakukep, thank you for making the time to listen to what I and the other candidates have to say regarding our candidacy for the upcoming by-election. I have completed 2 previous terms on council for a total of 6 years at the council table. So I offer the experience and knowledge gained as a result. I've also been employed with the Ktunaxa Nation for 25 years in a few different capacities. And I also offer the many years of knowledge and experience gained during that time. In my current capacity, my work allows me to gain knowledge and insights into title and rights and other First Nation issues and pursuits. I'm a big supporter of not only developing and implementing policy, but making sure it is enforced and applied fairly and consistently. As you all know, I am also an advocate for off-reserve members. Many Kiskinnukniks, for whatever reason, have moved away. This should not prevent us from equitable access to programs, services, or participation in band matters. I believe the Chief and Council is accountable to the members, wherever they find themselves. I also believe that the role of Chief and Council is threefold. One is to safeguard the assets of the band, both financial and otherwise. The second is to instill motivation and meaning in terms of accomplishing the band's goals. And the third is to be a role model. I believe the qualities of a good leader include the willingness to learn in and from all situations, the ability to keep your eye on the big picture but not lose sight of what is going on right in front of you, and to make decisions based on fairness and quality for the betterment of the band as a whole and not for a select few. Sometimes this means making decisions and going in directions that are not popular with everyone, but as the leader, after careful consideration of all the feedback, facts, information, you must be able to make a decision. A leader needs to know their place. It's not in the realm of micromanaging, but it is in making sure that those that are tasked with managing are doing so competently and according to the policies and procedures set in front of them. A good leader doesn't dwell in the land of rumor, innuendo, or he said, she said. It is the responsibility of every person in a leadership capacity to make sure they have their facts straight and that those facts are substantiated and their decisions are made on good, solid information. There is wisdom in the words, don't believe everything you hear and only half of what you see. I believe the Kiskinnuk Chief and Council has its work cut out for it in getting the band squarely back in the saddle. To do this, the Chief and Council needs to function as a unit and as a unified team. There needs to be open minds, open ears, and guarded tongues. Check your egos at the door and put the leash on the assertive personalities that have led you to step forward in the first place, me included. I have given much thought to whether I was up for the challenge in stepping forward to run for council again, and I do believe that I am, and I have something to offer, especially given the events of the past few months. So if elected, to the best of my ability, with a disclaimer that I'm only human and I'm not perfect, I will do my best. And I'd like to thank my nominator and seconder, and I'd like to thank everybody again for coming out and listening to what we have to say. Takas.
Thank you, Rosemary. Okay, thank you everybody for your opening statements. I will now open the floor to any electors who would like to ask questions. What I will do in this process is if somebody puts their hands up, I will allow them to talk and then they can ask a question. I ask that you keep your questions to 1 minute, and I ask the candidates to keep your answers to 2 minutes. We'll provide an opportunity for all the candidates to answer the questions, and a reminder that each question will be directed to all of the candidates. Leona Keynes?
Hi. I just want to know, do people in a community actually have integrity? And do you actually know what that means? That's what I'd like to know after all this stuff that's happening. Integrity is a big word.
Thank you, Leona. Alan Nicholas, would you be up to answering the question first?
How's that?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Thanks, Leona, for the question. Integrity to me is to be able to look at the issue at hand, be able to come up with what reasons why it's happening, and to be able to come up with solutions and not determine just because of who is in the situation. Everybody has to be treated fairly. I mean, whether it's like they say guilty until, or innocent until proven guilty. So it's basically, and when people using social media, private social media with a just a Facebook page and go around trying to demean and politicize the issue and draw people onto their side of the story, when they're only seeing one side of it, they're not getting both sides of the story. I mean, there's no integrity in that. If I was asked at the time of stuff that was posted, why I was involved in that, I would have answered it. I was there because I have integrity. I have, I care about the community, what happens in this community, whether it be somebody that I don't see very often, or if it was somebody down the road or whatever. I tend to care. I take a lot of stuff in. My wife always tells me you get too involved, and sometimes I do, but it's for the betterment, and I wouldn't turn somebody away if they were hungry or needed a $20 here or there. So that's my version of integrity.
Excellent. Thank you, Ellen. Rosemary, would you be available, willing?
Sure. So integrity to me is speaking your truth, saying what you mean and meaning what you say, and treating people the way you want them to treat you, basically.
Thank you, Rosemary. Darcy?
Thanks for your question, Leona. In terms of integrity, I think we've all been tested at some time or another on being able to recognize the truth and to be able to stand in our own truth, the way that we present ourselves to the people in the community. And I think the characteristics of a good leader is somebody who has that integrity to be able to stand by their words, to be seeking truth and justice for our community members, not to sweep things under the rug or to offer out contracts and rehiring people without due diligence, to put themselves above our people and the ongoings of the business of the Kiskanook First Nation, and for us to have to find out about it on Facebook. There's a lack of integrity there. And how do we instill the belief of integrity into our people and let them know that we stand for them and by them when there isn't justice being served? I think for myself, when I go to bed at night, I'm able to go to bed with a clear conscience, knowing that I have done right in the day, because there are people watching us. Our children are watching us, our communities are watching us, and the rest of the Canadian government is watching us. But most importantly are those future generations who look up to us and say, you know, what about our Tanakha leaders makes them great leaders? And how can I be like that one of these days? Tachas.
Thank you, Darcy. Barbara Fisher?
Yes, thank you for the question, Leona. I do believe integrity, you need it to be a great leader. When everything had happened, I didn't like the half-truths. I didn't like the stuff I seen on Facebook. So I took it upon myself to go and talk to the individuals and seek out maybe a truth. With me, honesty is one of the biggest qualities that I hope everybody can be. I hope that you can be honest with me, and I hope I can be honest with you. I know I can be honest, and that's just because I like to have great conversations. Because at the end of the conversations, there'll always be a solution. and I can listen to you, and I'm not a judgmental person, but I really want to get to know who you are and who the people are. And I want to be able to represent our people with great integrity and move forward. The best thing to do right now is to reassure our people that the people they're going to vote on this round, that they do truly have integrity for their people. I have a big heart for my people because at the end of the day, you are my people, and I want to represent you guys with the best integrity that I can show. Tacha.
Thank you, Barbara. Ryan Nicholas.
Hello. Yeah, I just wanted to say that I just want to thank you for the question there, Leona, and just want to say hi. I think everybody has integrity, you know, on the reserve. It's just showing in their own unique ways. There's lots of people that are, you know, they're passionate about, you know, whether it be sports, whether it be land, whether it be culture. I just think that there's lots of integrity on the reserve, and I think that everybody just shows it in their own unique ways. I think if we bring that all together, that, you know, we could be a powerhouse if everybody put their minds together and we worked forward. So I just think I would bring a lot of integrity to the table. You know, I'm a very honest person. You know, I work hard. You know, I got a good head on my shoulders, and I would just like everybody to know that, and, you know, vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. I have another question that is in the Q&A on the screen here from Donald Sam. We have an opportunity, one every 4 years, to hold you accountable. You as council are requested to hold each other accountable. How would you intend to keep each other accountable every day? So I'm just going to put answer live here. Okay, go right ahead. I'm going to ask Darcy Fisher to start this one first.
I think to hold each and every one of us accountable, we were moving in that direction because we wanted to be able to have a team that we could lean on to help each other in that room at the council chambers, and to also lift up our community, not leaving anybody behind. So lifting ourselves and our people, but to hold ourselves accountable, we were moving towards a governance policy so that our membership would know that when people are missing meetings, when people are stepping out of line, when council members are having secret meetings, these kind of things weren't happening. That was the goal of the governance policy. We were wanting to move forward in a place that you could count on your council people that you elected, that you put into those seats, that there was transparency. It's unfortunate that we got to the point we are today to have this by-election, but this was due to not having those proper policies and procedures in place. There's a lot of things that need review, and I think that's where I'd like to start if I were elected, is let's look at those policies, procedures. Let's beef up our governance policy, because the people deserve it. We don't deserve it. We can be elected in and out at any time. The people deserve it. When I'm not on council and I'm sitting there wondering what my chief and council is doing, I want those things in place so that we're able to hold them accountable, and that they get to a high level of place of high level of integrity, so they hold themselves responsible.
Thank you, Darcy. Barbara, would you mind answering this question next? Barbara Fisher?
Yes, thank you for the question, Don. Accountability, it's probably the highest thing you can have on the resume, or in this case, one of the being able to understand what accountability is. And we need to have accountability for the employment standards, for the things that have happened within the band. There needs to be accountability happening to the, and especially with chief and council, we need to have accountability. It does go right to the policies and procedures, understanding that we need to start enforcing those laws and to really start looking into policies and procedures to make sure that anybody that is trying to do wrongful things to our band, that they be held accountable. Accountability is very important. Dacha.
Thank you, Barbara. Ryan Nicholas?
Hello. Accountability. Holding each other accountable at the end of each term. There's a lot of decisions that are made through your terms, and that should be made as a group. So, you know, I think that you have to remember that these chairs that people are taking aren't clean, you know, and if it's their first term, you know, they're going to be hit with a lot of different stuff. So I think that you just have to, or they're never taken at a perfect state, these chairs. And when people get in there, they want to, you know, they want to make improvements and push forward and everything like that. So I think everybody should be accountable for their decisions, but, you know, nobody's in there to make individual decisions anyways. So just knowing and helping each other out to make the right decisions is probably, you know, the best way to go. And, you know, at the end of each term, everybody can be accountable for the decisions as a group and not just an individual. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan. Rosemary Phillips?
Yeah, I think to hold each other accountable each and every day, you need to use your voice, but support each other. Know what the rules are, know what the policies are, know what the procedures are, but build a strong team. So there can be good dialogue, and that you can be firm but not adversarial. You can call people out without having those people feel like you're attacking them or things like that. So that's what a good team is able to do, in my opinion.
Thank you, Rosemary. Alan Nicholas?
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Don, for the question. Like everybody said, there's different levels of accountability depending on, as chief and council, as a member of council, you're accountable to each other through making sure communication is a high priority. To be able to communicate properly and to get the point across, whether you be communicating with staff members, membership, accountability to membership is a high priority. Looking through the policies or the Helder Pointe review and highlights there of all the committees. There's so many committees, and chief and council members are on those committees. The accountability for all of those members to be accountable to membership, to the staff, to chief and council. So there's so many different roles of accountability that we could be putting into play depending on the situation and instances that come around. What else? I mean, even to the public, we have to be accountable because everybody's watching. Nobody's in the dark. So it's a high priority to be accountable. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Ellen. I'm going to move on to the attendees. Martina. Go right ahead, Martina. Did you have a question?
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
Yep. Thanks.
Okay. So I'm a strong believer that journeys are more important than destinations. End results matter, but it's how you get there that counts. So if you get elected, what is your strategy for the first 3 months of being in a position of leadership in our community? And what is your vision for our community 1 year from now?
Thank you, Martina. I'm going to start with Barbara Fisher.
Thank you, Martina. So for the first 3 months, it's going to be a lot of reading and a lot of understanding what policies and procedures we have. And I know that there has been a lot of the issues that we didn't address at the band meeting. I would like to reassure our people that those issues were addressed and that our band will be moving forward. For the goal that I have in a year is that we have strong leadership based on the foundation of culture and language. I want our people to start opening up these meetings, especially this one should have been opened up with a prayer, and that we start taking pride back into ourselves and reminding ourselves that we are Indian first. Dacha.
Thank you, Barbara. Darcy Fisher.
Thank you for that question, Martina. Thinking about the first 3 months and the strategies, or the first 3 month strategy would be to talk to staff, talk to the community, talk to the rest of the leadership, and start to direct our ship back to that North Star, to start seeing where we're going, to open our eyes and thinking outside the box, thinking bigger, seeing better, and to be able to ensure that each and every one of our members understands the vision for our people and for the Akiskimik First Nation, to help people find their place within the community, to find their purpose, and to also get the staff back on board of what we're doing for our people, to not be divisive on which leadership they're going to listen to. It's all of our leadership that they have to listen to, the staff, because we're the voices for each and every one of our community members, the voiceless, the youngest that can't even speak yet. We're those people's voices, and our staff in running that business to ensure that this business stays successful and financially sound, we have to recognize that North Star or where we're going. Next year, I hope we're not in this kind of predicament again. I hope we're moving forward. I hope we get to a place where we can celebrate our leadership, where we're able to look at each and every one of our council members and say, you know, they did good for our community. We want to do good for our community. We want to uplift each and every one of our community members to be those people. I'm thinking I'm getting close to the end of my time if I didn't already cross that 20 seconds, but thank you.
Thanks. Good timing. Alan Nicholas.
Thanks, Tina. Oh. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hello. Okay. Thanks, Tina, for the question. It's not a hard question, but it's going to be a hard issue to do. It's going to take a bit of time to rebuild and get back on track. First of all, is to get staff back on in the office, fill the voids where we need the people, because there is a lot of holes in the program right now. And then start the communication process of letting membership know what's going on in the office with leadership, and what our overall plan is a whole, not as individuals, because that's where we're going to succeed, is if we can work together, forget our differences, and come together. Like, I recommend that everybody go back and review the Helder's plan or whatever they had, and just go through it. It's not boring. It's got a lot of information in it, and a lot of people on the candidates here have mentioned things that are actually in there that I've come across, and it's good to see that some people are on the same page. So thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. Ryan Nicholas?
Hello. Just want to say hi to Tina there, and it's been a long time. For the first 3 months, one thing is I haven't done over the last few months is jump into any of the he said, she said stuff that's going on. I kept my distance, you know, and I just kept plugging along, working on the reserve and helping out with the community. So my first few months, I would be diving into solving the problems that have come before me, will come before us. Communication with the people will be a key, you know, knowing what's going to happen and what has happened. With working in the housing, I see a lot of upside to our housing and the elder complexes that are coming forward this fall. I just think that over the next year, we got a lot of housing that's coming in and a lot of opportunities for people to make their way back to the community. I see our youth over the next year getting a voice for themselves, finally, you know, putting something down for them that, you know, that they got a voice and they're heard, and, you know, that they are there to help us, you know, push through to the future. And I think the youth is what we need for the future to help us to move forward. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan. Rosemary Phillips?
Thanks for the question, Martina. So in 1 year, I hope that we're celebrating a good year gone by. Over that year and the first couple months, I hope that we can get started on a good, solid communication strategy that is implemented and maintained, review and update policies and procedures, and update ourselves on the financial situation, getting an executive director hired, building a solid team. I'd like to see that in a year, my friend that is in Toronto struggling right now, that is an Akiskanook member, is able to get some assistance and not get the runaround. I'd like to have confidence built in our membership again, and to have the motion that was made last month, or how long ago it was, by membership fully implemented.
Thank you, Rosemary. Martina, I noticed that you put your hand back up. Is there something that you needed to say? If it's
I just had another question moving on from that one.
Oh, does it follow this question?
No, I didn't mean to interrupt anybody. I was just wanting to go back into the queue.
Okay, I'm going to put you back into the queue. I had Teresa ask a question on the Q&A, and then you're next, okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Thanks. Okay, so we have in the Q&A, I'd like to draw your attention there from Teresa Keynes. After this question, after you answer this question, I just want to mention that we'll go for a 5-minute break. Okay, so we have being on council is very stressful and a thankless work. Are you willing to commit to the term despite the stress and difficulty of making decisions and different options? Are you a team player? So I'm going to go back up, just do alphabetical order again. So I'm going to start with you again, Barbara Fisher.
Thank you, Teresa, for the question. And I believe that every day is stressful, and that every day, like life and the everyday situations are stressful. The way that we manage our stress levels is up to us, whether we get angry, mad, cry. You know, we have to be able to understand our feelings and the way that we conduct ourselves still, and know that we are human. With being on here for however long the position that is, well, if I get on, yeah, I am a team player. I love to work with people. I love to have conversations with them, and I'm pretty sure that we can all, take it upon ourselves to work through our well-being, to work through the stressful situations, whether it's praying, talking to the Creator, and yeah, I believe I have it in me to commit to my people and to start making sound decisions. Um, yeah, I I just want to be part of the community. I want to be part of the people, and I want to be able to start putting all my energy into moving forward. And I would like to do it with my community. Dacha.
Thank you, Barbara. Darcy Fisher?
Thanks for the question, Teresa. Yeah, I know how thankless it is, and I know how also rewarding it can be when we're able to make decisions um, that the people can be grateful for. There were many times that I sat at that table, and we've been in long discussions and hard discussions, and by the end of the day, I think we're able to move away from the council table knowing that we acted in the best interest of the people, and that we were able to use each and everyone's strength at that table. And that's also the way that we should be looking at our community. Each and every one of those persons' strengths has to live in the vision of the Ikiskanook First Nation. I think our team should be bigger than just 5 council members. We have over 300 people within our membership. And I think, how do we get them as part of the team? We have to be able to ask each other all these questions and answer these hard questions to be able to work together, to have open dialogue, open communication, and especially having that towards the people as well. Am I up for that task? I am. Am I prepared for it? I am. I feel that there's better things that we can move towards with the community, and I'd like to be a part of the team to help usher in that change so that our young ones have that good seats to move to be able to pursue leadership as a career, culture, language, all of these things. Tachas.
Thank you, Darcy. Alan Nicholas?
Thanks, Teresa, for the question. Yes, you have to be a team player to be in this organization. We were working with 4 other people, 5 plus staff, and yes, it's very stressful. But in your personal life, you have to be able to come up with solutions and to be able to deal with that stress and not to take it home and deal with and put it out on your family or anything like that. I do have all of those sort of remedies and stuff in place that when I was on council before, did a lot of work. My home life suffered for it, but we got to the point where we were able to work things out. As a team player, I do that right now as encompassed in my small business, working with band members, hiring band members, employees, working with other contractors, having in large groups of 200-300 people at a job site. So everybody has a role to play, and everybody has to play as a team. So forget your indifference. When you go into that room, when you come out of that room, everything's left inside that room. You don't take it home with you and bring it out. Yeah, I'm definitely a team player. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ellen. Ryan Nicholas?
Hello. Thanks for the question, Teresa. I just wanted to say, I'm a very calm person. I've always been. I'm a very easy to talk to. I'm never afraid to lend an ear to anybody that needs it. I never judge anybody. That's for sure. I'm not the greatest person ever. I've never been all my life either. So, I just want to. I don't need to thanks. To continue doing a good job. Doing a good job with my work ethic is part of my life. I just like the progression of things and seeing, keeping my eye on the prize and stuff. So I think as a team player, I have been a team player all my life. I've been in various sports teams. I've helped build a lot of teams that traveled around throughout the BC and put a lot of, Tunaha members, we've played together in different groups and stuff. So I am I'm a team builder. I have lots of communication skills to help solve problems and not be the problem. So I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan. Rosemary Phillips?
Yes, I'm familiar with the challenges and the stress and of being on council, and yes, I'm up for the challenge. Am I a team player? Absolutely. I believe that we need to hold each other up, and as Darcy had said, we need to be able to have those tough conversations, but still walk away feeling good. So I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Rosemary. Okay, we've been in the All Candidates Forum for just a little bit over an hour. I would like to take this moment to offer a 5-minute break. So we'll commence and we'll be back here at 7:07. If you guys are fine with that. Okay. All right, so I'll just call this meeting back to order. I know that I called the meeting at 6:02 after, so maybe 6:07 and 30 seconds. Just kidding. So we have some questions in queue. And I know that Martina had another question, but I'm trying to go in order that they're being received. So okay. I was going to ask all the candidates just to kind of draw attention to the chat, because I do have a private chat line with all of you. So that's where I'm giving you your notice when you have like 20 seconds remaining, so that we can keep in equal time frames with everybody when they're answering. Okay, so I'm going to open the floor to Martine. Martine, you had a question, and I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself so you can ask the question to all of the candidates.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So my question relates to the last question that was asked by Teresa, but I feel like it requires specific steps that you would take. So if you were elected onto council, how do you plan to build a culture of collaboration among the council as a whole?
Excellent. Thank you. I am going to start with Rosemary Phillips first.
So how I would build a culture of collaboration is asking lots of questions, making sure I understand what it is that other people are trying to convey, being open myself to having questions asked of me without getting frustrated or upset, those kind of things. I like to use humor in trying to help people relax and have a group that is, you know, able to sit with each other and enjoy each other's company and get things done. I know that there's a number of tools to build collaboration, you know, learning each other's styles, learning each other's how each other, their body language, things like that. Sometimes people think that, you know, I tend to have resting bitchy face, but it's not because I'm bitchy, it's because that's my face. So, you know, and once people realize that, then they don't take it to heart. So just those kind of things.
Thank you, Rosemary. Ryan Nicholas.
Hello. I just say this pretty much the same thing as cultural collaboration is just getting to know each other. You know, communication is a key thing that everybody would have to bring to the table, and, you know, just collaborating with each other. I think with the cultural stuff, you know, as everybody knows, it's a fading thing on our reserve nowadays. And I think bringing our elders in, communicating a lot with the elders is a key thing too, that you know, we got to keep our communication together with them, you know, because they're not going to be here forever. And, you know, there's lots of stuff that is dying in like our language and our traditional ways and stuff. So I think everybody just needs to communicate, get on the same page. And I think that moving forward with a positive group would be a really, really positive thing for everybody in the cultural collaboration area. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan. Alan Nicholas.
Yes, thanks, Tina, for the question again. Communication is, you can't overemphasize communication. Without communication, you can't know what the other people's strengths and weaknesses are. To build a team, you need to be able to communicate, find out individual strengths and feed off of it, and identify areas where you need to work as a group to strengthen those, to show that unity to the membership. And yeah, I think the largest part of it is communication, whether with membership, elders, youth. I know there's been a lot of talk of forming different groups for support to chief and council. In a way, I'd like to see that, as long as it will benefit individuals, but you never know, it might become a part of a healing session too, to be able to bring people out and have them start communicating with the rest of the community and with other members. So communication is the bottom lines on a lot of things. Thanks.
Thank you, Alan. Darcy Fisher?
I missed part of the question. I was just wondering if we could.
Again.
Yeah, Mark.
Sorry. So, Ava, so if you are elected onto council, how do you plan to build a culture of collaboration among the council as a whole?
Thank you, Martine.
Thank you for that question. I think when we're looking at creating a good collaboration with the council and how we're going to move forward is to really look at the strengths that each and every one of us brings to the table. I think what Alan was saying there with the communication, that's key. Like, where are we today? Where will we be tomorrow? And where will we be next year? And being able to map that out in our conversations, to be able to bring in the community, to bring in the business, and to bring in each other's strengths. How do we get that to be a cohesive unit moving forward? And I like what Ryan said there on culture, language, the identity of the Akiskunuknik. We have to bring those things forward. It's in our blood, it's in our hearts of who we are. Our Akishwe, we have to be able to sing the songs that come from our hearts, to be able to move forward, to be able to utilize our strengths as strong, healthy Tanaka citizens moving forward, to be strong, healthy Akiskunuknik, to know our vision and our statement, and to be able to wear that proudly, to be able to instill a belief of pride in our children. And I think most importantly, it's the futures that we're creating for our children to meet that healthy collaboration, to take our egos out of the mix.
Thank you, Darcy. Barbara Fisher?
Thank you, Martina, for that, for the question. I believe culture of collaboration, it is all about being able to communicate with the people that make up our community. We need to be able to be open, honest, and it all depends on really the communication from all of our members. We need to be able to make our building a safe, open place for our people to come in and talk. You know, when we talk about healing, we need to have those areas for those people. You know, with the culture, it's a big step to start healing when a lot of stuff has happened in the past. We have to be able to make our people aware that we understand the hurts, and that we have to be able to start openly and honestly moving forward with great communication. And it starts with the conversations from the people, from the onlookers, and being able to step down from the podium that everybody puts chief and council on, and going into the homes and being able to connect again with our members. Culture collaboration is an openly honest way of communication. And I believe that it starts from the community. How will we make that a possibility? We're going to have to be able to allow our people to start being.
Sorry. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to draw your attention again to the Q&A part of the chat. We have another question here from Teresa Keynes that came in at 5:44. Her question is, what are your weaknesses? Where do you need help? And where are your strengths? So I'm going to start off first with Alan Nicholas.
Thank you, Leona, for the question. Some of my strengths are to be able to determine what is right and wrong is a big one. To be able to look at a situation and say what is wrong with that picture, and to be able to either come up with a solution to help or to dissolve it, or to get a proper result from it. I think one strengths are a team player. A lot of stuff we've already talked about and covered. Organization. I'm pretty organized. Being an owner of a business and being a boss, and being a dad too, is you got to have strength to be a parent. And kudos to all the parents out there for being able to raise your children properly as you see fit. Weaknesses. It's not that I don't see any weaknesses. It's hard to come up with a list of them, I guess. People say that I get angry too fly off the handle, or too quick to judge. But I mean, as a team player and stuff, to be identified and notified of it, and to be able to take it home and work on it individually or work on it as together and stuff is a big part of it. Yeah. Okay, nope, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alan. Darcy Fisher.
The question here was, what are the weaknesses? What are your weaknesses? What do you need help, and what are your strengths? That's the question that we're answering.
Correct.
For weaknesses, I think there's sometimes just being not communicating the emotion properly behind some of the actions that I do. I think sometimes being speaking before I fully think it out, but I think that's also one of my strengths, is being able to come from a place from emotion and having empathy for people. Empathy being the ability to walk in somebody else's shoes and to understand their experience, to be able to put ourselves in the shoes of our most vulnerable people, our people who have had bad experiences, and to be able to say, how are we going to move those people into a place of privilege, in a sense? Why being able to tear down those barriers and making a better place for all of us? Those are my strengths, being able to see beyond today and even a week from now, and trying to map out that place of where we're going, where our future stands as Akisknuknik and as Tanacha, being able to say, that's where we're going, that's our North Star, this is how we're going to get there. And I think being able to bring that to the table is something that is my strength and will continue to be my strength if I'm sitting at that table again. If not, I'll use it as a member and be able to be in those conversations that way, not on Facebook, in person.
Thank you, Darcy. All right. Ryan Nicholas.
Hello. I just want to say thanks again to Teresa for this question here. All I can say is, just like every other parent, one of my weaknesses is my kids. I do anything for my kids. I would do as a parent. I do anything for them, knowing that they are, my future, knowing that they are also the future of our community and of, moving forward in decades to go. I think helping what I need help in mostly is always, encouraging me to help keep my eye on the prize, because once I'm dedicated to something and keep my eye on the prize, I strive for it and I like to go for it. And if that helps me, make the community stronger, that everybody help put in, it always helps me. So one of my strengths is, I'm a very strong-willed person, with a good head on my shoulders. I'm always there for my family. My family is one of my key things. I never back down from anybody from my family. I've never backed down for anybody from my community or a Tunaha member. I think I'm just a very athletic person. I bring a lot of strength to the table, and I just think moving forward is something that we need a lot of around here. So let's go for the same thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan. Rosemary Phillips.
Some of my weaknesses is sometimes my drive and wanting to get things done, and I forget that I have to wait up for other people to get caught up or make sure that everybody's on the same page. Sometimes I tend to take on things that I probably shouldn't, maybe a little bit too much. I tend to be very blunt. That's just something that comes from my family, and sometimes it sounds intimidating or people get kind of scared by it, but it's just me. Some of my strengths, I have a strong foundation in policy and process. My patience, I think, is a real strength. Being able to sit and listen and try to empathize with people. What I need help with mostly is, feeling okay feeling that it's okay to lean on people, other people, and that I don't have to carry the weight of the world on my shoulders, that other people are willing to help with that load.
Great. Thank you, Rosemary. Barbara Fisher.
Thank you, Teresa, for the question. Weaknesses, I am yet to self-identify. Just kidding. I probably have a number of weaknesses that, yeah, like you said, you can make a list, but am I going to show them? Probably not. Where do I need the help? I need a great team to be able to work together to move forward, and so we can build on all of our strengths. I have the ability to talk over people. Okay, there's my weakness, without really waiting for them to stop, because I have opinions, but that will work into if I get elected. I do have the ability to listen, however, and I don't just hear you, I can listen to you, and that's probably one of my strengths. Another strength I have is my cultural heritage, my background, and just being a strong Agiskunuk, Nick, and Tanaka speaking citizen. And I hope that will carry us forward. Thank you. Taka.
Thank you, Barbara. I'd like to draw your attention again to the Q&A section. We have anonymous attendee that has a question. The Kiskanik annual work plans sound good on paper, but in years past, we have not completed many tasks. What might you do to improve the staff completing tasks from annual work plans? So I'm going to draw this to Rosemary Phillips first, please.
Well, any good work plan is only as good as the effort that you put into it. So one of the things that I like to do is regular check-ins. You know, what is the progress that you've made? What are the problems that you've encountered? How are you going to address those problems, and how are you going to achieve that item on your work plan, or is it something that needs to be readdressed? Making people accountable for their work plans. You know, if they're not getting them done, why aren't they getting them done? Is there a problem? Do they need help? Do they need resources? What's going on there?
Thank you, Rosemary. Darcy?
Thank you. In terms of the annual work plans, I think there have been quite a few good ones that have come across the council table. How do we get people to, how do we get away from that place of non-completed tasks, I think, is knowing the capabilities of our staff, and through many sessions with Dan, George, and leadership training, they've taught us to be at the mountaintop and not to get down into the micromanaging. But I think by doing so, we remove ourselves from a level of communication that needs to be done in order to have that trust with our employees when we're not there in that aspect for them to ask us questions, to be able to work with us and to have collaboration. We limit their skill set and our skill set when we don't have that open communication. And also hiring a good executive director, somebody who's going to communicate back and forth with those people, but doesn't stand in the way of us having open communication with all employees. And also, even I think something that has to be done is a review of services from membership. How does membership see the business of the Akiskun First Nation as being productive and meeting with their needs? And I think that's something also, is that they need to know the community. Yes, they're there to do a job, but they're also there running a business for our people.
Thank you, Darcy. Barbara Fisher.
Thank you to the anonymous attendee. Every good work plan needs to be re-looked at, especially with the way that things have gone now. It's always, you know, we're told we're dinacha, we eat everything on a plate. So why are we leaving these tasks undone? Without communication, we really can't see anything moving forward. We have to be able to, I know micromanaging isn't the way to go, but you know, I agree with Darcy. We do need to have an executive director, because like every other band, the executive director works for the chief and council. And if that executive director doesn't know what's going on with each and every one of her departments or his or her departments, then we end up with unfinished tasks. Our due diligence to our jobs, our employees, and to our membership is not fulfilled. We need to start really getting back into the communication of what's going on, and to better look at these work plans, having the strategy sessions again, and a lot of communication with our our membership. Membership is what's going to drive us forward. Dacha.
Thank you, Barbara. Alan?
Yeah, thanks. For work plan, I had the ability to, when I worked at the office, to be able to do up the work plan for community facilities. And at first, you didn't know what you were being asked under a different organization. As a boss, I plan day-to-day activities in the job, in the field, or for the crew, and monitor it. If people are having difficulties in situations where don't be scared, let them know, don't be scared to ask a dumb question, because we don't want people getting hurt. We don't want people getting mad, frustrated, quitting. We want to bring out the best in everybody. So to apply that to a larger organization like the Kiskanik administration, it takes a bit, but that's where the communication plays a big role again, for staff members, managers, SAO, SFO to communicate and to work together to make those work plans come through. Because if they're not working together, we only see part of it as a leadership. So we don't know, because if the micromanaging aspect of being accused of micromanaging because you're asking questions about staff's businesses. So yeah, it's the communication aspect between the chain of command within the organization, and to be able to work together and come up with the solutions to make those work plans complete and successful for that year. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Ryan Nicholas?
Hello. I just want to say thanks for the question. Work plans are only good, or they only work good if followed properly. I think good communication and know where you stand as a counselor in providing the help that they need, the resources they need to succeed on their parts of the work plans. Communication with staff and knowing the boundaries as a counselor, but also concern as a member. You also have to know the work plans and know what they're going to bring to the community for our people. Good communication with the staff, is always the main key. But also knowing not to step over your boundaries, but also pushing for the better of the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan. I'll now move on to the next question. Leona, you have a question?
Yes. My question is, how do you get back to the community? Do you volunteer? Basically that's simple. Do you volunteer? What have you done in the past? What are you doing now as volunteer work to get back and without recognition?
Thank you. Barbara Fisher, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Leona. Volunteering, for the past 3 years, I've been working as a language and culture coordinator in Tobacco Plains. My volunteer work hasn't been as exceeding as it should be. I do a lot of I have given my time to do language lessons and to teach cultural traditions. And without the recognition, it's the pride that I instill in the people that makes me happy to know that our ways are going to continue to, is going to continue to lead our future. I strongly believe that being able to have that communication with your with the young ones to, you know, just being able to give them a little bit to just giving up that time to at least teach people traditional language is one of the best things I give to our Dinacha nation. Dacha.
Thank you, Barbara. Darcy Fisher?
Thank you for that question, Leona. I think that's a good question to really make us think of what this position means to us and what this position also entails for us. There's many times that I've taken young people aside through to practice the culture and the language. It's almost like not wanting to. I'm not just a saint or person on a pedestal, but to be able to help people learn about the language, the culture, to go to the sweat lodge, to make that connection to creator, and even to do sound, mind, body, and spirit of taking young people to the gym and to be able to sit with our youngest people, children just learning to speak and teaching them the language, to hear a young one saying "Oki ask achsa chatsa" all the way to 10, and just a little bit of time spent with them. Those are the things that I've given back to not just the community, but to Nacha as a whole, to build up our younger generations, to help them with their mental health by knowing that we have the sweat lodge, we have the gym, we have good nutrition, health, and diet. These are the things that we do to strengthen ourselves and to be strong, to Nacha, to be strong. Akis Knuknik. Dachas.
Thank you, Darcy. Alan Nicholas?
Yes, thanks for the question. There's really not much to volunteer out here right now with our rec center down, but I mean, in the future, the plan is to try to help get some sporting activities, organizations going and start utilizing that building with maybe help from Ryan. I do enabling, I employ band members. I don't do it because I'm forced to. I do it because I want to. I want to be able to show people that they're good workers. I talk to individual workers and to find out where they're struggling as individuals, their bank accounts, their driver's license and stuff like that, where they're lack of. So I try to work with Kiskinook staff members to point them in the right direction. One thing I do when I employ band members, I see where they come from. If they're having a hardship, or they come from a low self-esteem or whatever. Everybody works on the same level in my company and stuff. Guys don't go without. If they show up with work and I notice that they don't have substantial lunch or whatever, I always bring lunch, extra lunch. My wife always gives me extra. So I don't let people go hungry. I'm always bringing drinks. I stop on the way home. I buy the guys a cold drink on the way home, not wobbly pops, Coke or Pepsi, but and I see people struggle in the community and not just in the community, in every community there's problems, but I try to ask the individuals what is wrong and go from there and try to point them in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Ryan Nicholas?
Okay, hello everybody. I just want to say thanks for the question there. This kind of question, is right up my alley because, I'm a very athletic guy and stuff. And for over the past decade, I lived in the interior. In 15 years, I've lived in the interior. So I lived in a small community of Cache Creek, which is close to Ashcroft. I did a lot of volunteering over in that area. You know, there's not too much to do. They don't really offer too much to kids over there and stuff. So I try to do as much as possible. So one thing I did do, you know, is I helped out with a lot of soccer teams. They have a really good soccer program in Ashcroft. Their high school has a really good soccer team and stuff like that. So I tried to help out as much as possible. Their hockey teams over there, they have very limited resources for people, you know, that have knowledge in hockey and stuff. So I tried to help out as much as possible too in that. And baseball, you know, we really try to get baseball coming back there. I remember when back in the day we had like 6 teams in Windermere alone when we were kids playing baseball. So that's something I'd like to help bring back for them. And for even around here is something that we need that too. So for my what I have planned and stuff, you know, if the rec center wasn't closed, you know, I'd be running mad programs out of that place. You know, I'd be doing everything, you know, like what I have planned. If you talk to anybody, you know, that has talked to me since I've been back, you know, I have so much knowledge in that area that I want, you know, to bring everything for the kids and stuff, everything that we've done. And, you know, our programs that we had back in the day, like we had kids camps, you know, I'd like to run kid camps out of there, sports camps, basketball camps, you know, and maybe get everybody on a health trip, you know, to get everybody thinking healthy, you know, like we got a floating running track in there, you know, that we could use, you know. And so I think, you know, if everybody elects me, you never know, maybe I'll start jog with the counselor. Okay. So yeah, so I just wanted to say, you know, that's right up my alley, and, you know, I bring a lot to the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Rosemary Phillips.
So in terms of volunteering, I haven't in the last little while done any formal volunteering. I do step up when I'm needed. For instance, the meeting that we had in Akiskanook not too long ago, a few of us volunteered our time to get that together. I do spend a lot of time supporting my elderly mom, supporting my kids with their kids, those kind of things. I was on the rec center board for a while, and then because of different circumstances, I'm no longer on that board, but I would be happy to go back. So that's about it.
Okay, thank you, Rosemary. Just to give a little bit of airspace to some people that have faxed some information in and emails, I'd like to ask a question that came in via fax from one of the elders in the community. So she has 2 questions here, and one question is, what is your education level, and will you be able to read and understand legal documents, contracts, financial documents, correspondence such as social services, correspondence with band members and other First Nations and governments? So if you'd like me to repeat any of this, I can. It's a full page that she hand wrote out. So I think you may know who's asking this question of you. So I will go back again in alphabetical order and ask Barbara to start.
Thank you for that question. Every day is learning. My education level, I'm always up to learning. Like I have been studying under my elders of Tobacco Plains for the past 3 years, and to be able to gain a lot of the background of our people, to understand why we still want to fight for the things that we have today, to be able to connect myself with the lands, the people, and the hardships. My education level will continue to strive as I enjoy reading the Indian Act. However, that thing, yeah, like everybody wants to do is burn it. But you know what? 150 years of documentation of the rights and wrongs that they have done, like we have a long ways to start looking at the revamping the policies and procedures. You know, the United Declaration or the Declaration of the United Nations, that is one page of the big Indian Act that we have. Since the first round, I have taken it upon myself to start looking at the Indian Act, to start reviewing the federal and provincial laws, to start, you know, wanting to start walking into the political science. These issues that that every band has is, we need to start looking at the foundation of what our elders have left us, to how we're going to implement it today, to what's going to guide us into the future. Thank you. Dacha.
Okay, thank you, Barbara. Next, could I have Darcy Fisher?
Could you just repeat that question?
Okay, we have, what is your education level? And will you be able to read, understand, legal documents, contracts, financial documents, and correspondence such as social services, band members, other First Nations, and government?
Education level, I have a college education level. Would always want to go further with college and university. In terms of understanding documents, I am clear on the legal documents and other ones that come through at the table of counsel. So hard not to be facetious on this question, though, because we want to build up our community to have a high level of education, but then the questions that come out being asked in this sense, we tend to turn away a lot of people with high levels of education, and to hear how some of these people and question askers approach our people with high levels of education and have made it hard for them to maintain employment is kind of disheartening. I'd like to move to a place where our people respect our people getting an education, who have taken the time to get an education, and to celebrate people with education. I'd like leadership to be more than our education level and more about our life experience and what we bring to the table, how we plan on making that change for the people. Not about if I can read or write. Yes, that's good. You can read and write and count. We need those skills, but to be able to understand people, to be educated on the understanding of people, and to be able to empathize and to be able to see outside of ourselves and put ourselves in their shoes and making a better future for them. Those are the kind of things that I'd like to express in my level of education, is the life experience education and the people education, the language and the culture. Those are my levels of education. Dachas.
Thank you, Darcy. Alan Nicholas?
Hello. Yeah, I have the grade 12 education, but I have various training aspects within industry and business. You don't have those 3 letters behind your name doesn't mean you know anything. I've got learned a lot by asking questions, studying documents. As a business owner too, I have to understand contracts and be able to sign a contract and know what I'm signing. So, and everything that entails in that documentation. Also, I go to BC Bid. It's the provincial government site for procuring contracts and engagement with different organizations all across BC and Alberta in open territories. So each individual, you click on there, your bid documents come up, you got to go through and read everything. It's some of the tender packages can be up to 300-400 pages long, and you have to read it all. So I do have a very good understanding of contracts, legal documents, and scope of works and work plans, and when it comes to budgeting, because I have to do budgeting when I go out and bid on forestry contracts, freehold reduction, or any type of work that I want to do. So yeah, just because I have a grade 12 doesn't mean I don't know a lot. So you gain it by learning and asking questions, and people are willing to answer those questions. It doesn't matter how lame or stupid the question may seem. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. Ryan Nicholas?
Okay. Hello, everybody. Okay, I just want to start off with I have some post-secondary education and graduated from high school, but I have a lot of knowledge on and off reserve. I will be able to understand forthcoming documents. One of my strengths for my education features is math, working with numbers and understanding them. I'm very strong at that, and people learn differently, and I'm a hands-on person. So when I get my hands on, and I learn faster, and I'm a stronger person when I've got my hands on something and I'm learning it. So understanding members and being able to talk with members is a part of my knowledge and is part of my strengths too. So I just want to thank you for the question, and have a good night so far. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Rosemary Phillips?
So I have a diploma in business administration. I work with legal documents and financial information every day, and have for the past 25 years. I work with the provincial and federal governments on a regular basis and am knowledgeable of their respective legislations. I know how to find information, do research, inform myself, and ask questions.
Thank you, Rosemary. Next question here. It's regarding elders. Will you listen and act on the Elders Council? Act on the, is it Helder report? Can you correct me if I'm wrong? Helder report, and keep all band members via newsletter or correspondence, I guess it would say, up to date. I'm going to start this one off with Ryan Nicholas.
Okay, just want to say that yeah, for sure. Thanks for the question. That's a pretty good question. So for the elders, you know, like I say, I got a really good communication with the elders. You know, I'm not afraid to talk to the elders, not afraid to approach them. They're not afraid to approach me. They're not afraid to come talk to me. You know, over the past month or so, we've been working on Hazel Pascal's house there, and you know, and just getting to be able to communicate with her and have conversations with her that, you know, I haven't had in so long, not being in the community and stuff. So I think listening to our elders is a key thing. And, you know, they have lots of knowledge, and I don't know everything, you know, but I'd love to know what they know. You know, I'd love to, you know what they've been through. And I think they bring a lot of wise memories, a lot of wise trainings, and a lot of wise culture and everything back to the table for us. So, you know, having them have a committee that is very vocal and stuff, you know, and bringing themselves to the table, you know, I think that is a very, very strong thing for our community. And I think with the limited elders that we do have, you know, I think they need to be heard. They need to have their voice, and they need to be there to help us move forward, you know, and just communication with all of us and anybody who gets in there would be key, you know, and would be knowledgeable for anybody. So I just think that's the way we should go, and I think that's a very good thing for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Darcy Fisher?
Thank you. That's a really good question. There are very few people I would call my elder. The people who I have been taught by have sat with me and the boys group that I facilitated respectfully and patiently. Pete Sanchez is one of those men who sat at that table with us, taught us about the drum, very humble person, is willing to teach and willing to listen. When we talk about an elders group or committee within our community, yes, we have to build that. We have to get them to a place where it's a two-way street of communication and being able to value our young people and to know that what they teach is instilling hope and vision for our people. We have to communicate better with all of our elders off reserve and on reserve. When we put together an elders committee, we don't send out smoke signals hoping that these people are going to hear about this elder committee or this elder committee meeting. We have to invite them all to the table through a high level of communication. If they don't have the internet, if they don't have the phone, if they don't have these kind of things, go out and communicate to them. Let them know that these things are going on, that we want and need their knowledge inside the council chamber rooms and inside the business that is a Kiskimuk First Nation. My vision for culture and language involved the elders being in that room at all times, being in that building, having a place that's theirs so that we can seek their wisdom and knowledge. An elder doesn't mean 50, 60 and over. Anybody can be an elder who teaches us valuable life lessons. Duchas.
Thank you, Darcy. Alan Nicholas?
Hi, yeah. Elders, they're becoming very few. I've got a few more years before I become on that list too. So I try to learn and understand what they have to offer with knowledge and information. I feel that a lot of our elders were taken way too early. They weren't finished teaching us everything. But respect the elders, like Darcy said, whether you're different age elders, there's different range of elders depending on, learn from, communicate with the elders. I mean, with the elders support the group, I was with that group whenever they needed some support, the strength and information to be able to help them follow through with what they were asking. I mean, to some people that's a show of force or that's intimidating. I'm sorry, but I'm supporting my elders, whether you feel threatened by me being there or my actions when being there. I'm sorry for you if you feel that way, but I'm just there to offer that support. We lost one of our elders recently in the last week, and the knowledge that that individual had is gone, and whatever is remaining out there. So we have to take that notice and start. And I noticed that when I go to a different community too, whether it's Upcom, Lower Kootenay, or Tobacco Plains, I want to be able to go into their communities and respect their elders too, because we're all Tanaka. So thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. Barbara Fisher?
Thank you for the question. Like I've said, for the past 3 years, I have worked very close with my elders. 97 years of knowledge, and I am pretty sure I didn't get it all yet. So our elders, there's a difference between an elders group and an elders committee. The elders advisory committee will be the strong background of our people that can continue to uplift us and guide us to what we know is right. With our laws, policies, and procedures, we need to start listening to our elders. We need to be able to hear those stories, and we also need to allow them to be human and be able to express themselves the way they need to be expressed, let it be crying, angry, frustrated. Our elders' voices matter. And without them, we cannot continue to fight for our community without our strong foundation of the background of a Kiskunukniks, and to be able to move forward with this, with any kind of, sound decision. Our elders are very important. Their voices need to be heard. I respect them very much. And like I told my 97-year-old elder, I need what's in your mind to make our people and to guide our people to a better future. I will understand your hardship and implement it in today to move forward to tomorrow and for our future's sake. Dacha.
Thank you, Barbara. Rosemary Phillips?
So I'm going to talk about the Helder report as it's come to be known first. I have read it a bit of time ago, and there are some things in there that need to be worked on. There are some things that are kind of not quite accurate. I believe it needs to be put out to the membership for input before it's put into a strategy, but it does need to be put into a strategy if that's what we're going to use. So, fill in the spaces, get the input from membership, and then build a strategy and implement it. In turn of working with the elders, I love working with the elders. I get the opportunity quite often to work with the Elders Advisory Committee. But also learning from the elders that are not here anymore. And in my work, I have the privilege of reading the works of people like Wilt Jacobs and the Not So Long Ago book, and learning the wisdom and just learning about some of the challenges and the insights that they had. Even though they're not with us anymore, they're leaving things for us. And we shouldn't forget that. We should, one of these days, we're going to be the people that are leaving things for other people, although we may not be steeped in language and cultural knowledge. We still have that institutional knowledge. We have the knowledge of how we built our nation up and those kind of things. So, we all have value as when we become elders, regardless of where that value is coming from.
Thank you, Rosemary. I'm going to draw attention to the Q&A. There is Pete Sanchez. We haven't heard from him. And his question is, in a couple, actually, he corrected himself and he said in 3 weeks, 2 of you will be taking the Kiskunuk oath of, or 3 of you will be taking, in a couple of weeks, sorry, 3 of you will be taking the Kiskunuk oath of office. Should that oath be more Nopika driven? Did I pronounce that right? Barbara, I see you laughing.
Nopika.
Nopika, okay, thanks. Should that oath be more Nopika driven, or should it be modified to show such question mark? Are you able to complete that? I'm going to start with you, Barbara.
I believe everything that we do should be driven by Nopika. It's where we it's where we get our encouragement, empowerment. It's aknumatstichis. It's the way we're supposed to be living. We need to understand that, like I continue to say, that we are aksmaknik first. We need to start believing our traditional ways, our traditional customs, and being able to do an oath more Nopika driven is, we need to start bringing in the honor, the being able to know that, you know, with the help of our members and Nubika, they put us in these positions, and we will continue to honor both Nubika and our members to continue to have a strong foundation as a Kiskunuknik. Taka.
Thank you, Barbara. Rosemary Phillips.
So I think our grounding as First Nations people and as the Nuka people comes from Aknumutitlis, which comes from Nupika. And if we need to be reminded of that in our oath of office, then so be it. I don't know that we do need to be, but if people take comfort in that, then I say yes.
Thank you, Rosemary. Darcy Fisher.
Just before I answer this question, I just wanted to draw attention to the answered questions on our panel. There was a question from Mary Jimmy that Rosemary had put in an answer, so it kind of removed it from being a question for all panelists. In terms of this question, when we were working on the Helder report and the Stan Chung session, strategy sessions, we decided that language, that akwum, culture, those things would be at the ikishwe of who we are. That would guide our organization. That culture, language, that would be the heart of who we are, that we'd be moving towards a vision that we have a place for our elders, for our language teachers, for our song keepers, our ceremony experts, those kind of people. That would guide the business of the Akiskunuk First Nation. And that way we could instill those beliefs and that knowledge into our young people so that when our work plans are created, they have the language, they have the culture, they have who we are feeding life into the organization, that we become the experts of our business and where we're going because we live it, we breathe it, it's who we are. Culture, language, it's the putting the Akisnuknik to it, the Aksmuknik. And when we look at the oath of office, should it entail those things? Yeah, we should have that in there. Recognizing the language. There's a legend that I was privileged to read, a little kid's legend talking about the Nasukan Nintik and how there's many chiefs and they all are guiding them to it. I'll tell you that story when I'm on council sometime.
Thank you, Darcy. Okay, Alan Nicholas.
Can you repeat that question just for a bit? I just lost the train of thought here.
Yeah, it's in the Q&A, Pete Sanchez question. He said in a couple of weeks, 3 of you will be taking the Akiskunuk oath of office. Should the oath be more Nubika driven, or should it be modified to show such?
I think with our lives right now, the way things are going, a lot of people want to go back to the grassroots and live off the land and everything, which is nice. But in a way, a lot of the younger generation would have a difficult time because if they're not being brought up with traditional values and knowledge and everything, and we keep losing our elders and the next generation isn't knowledgeable on a lot of that. I think it would best serve us in our situation right now is to compile both, being able to go forward with the traditional knowledge behind us and move forward in the now situations, and to be able to deal with that. Spiritually, to be able to go back and ask that question and come up with solutions deep down inside. I do a lot of thinking, and it helps to do a lot of thinking, but as long as you can get answers and stuff, it's and I do pray to Creator, and not right away I get answers, but down the road I do feel that I can feel and see things that I've asked for, and when it comes to information or actions in a way. So yeah, it's a tough question, but we need to be able to do both, have it both ways.
Thank you, Alan. Brian Nicholas?
Hello, thank you very much. That is a very good question there, Pete. Just wanted to say hi. It's been a long time. The Picket Driven should be brought in. It's just it would be brought in good for, you know, a reminder to the people sitting at these chairs that have been brought in by our members, just to remember, you know, they're representing our community, representing our nation in a respectful manner to a point. We are where we come from, and our strengths come from, you know, the earths and all the different elements of, you know, of the surrounding areas, you know, like I'd love to, you know, fish every day, hunt every day, you know, stuff like that. But, you know, just knowing that, you know, the world's not like that these days. And but to have that knowledge and to have that, you know, the accessibility to stuff like that would be, is a key thing for all our people. And I think everybody needs that knowledge, and everybody needs that upbringing. And like I was saying, the last time I was running, you know, a lot of our culture camps and stuff like that we did as younger people, they were all showing us the ways of living off of the lands, you know. And you know, we did a lot of you know, search and rescue SAR programs and stuff, you know, like they would send us out in the bush and make us stay out there all night and stuff like that. You know, that's stuff we did as kids, you know, and I think that's stuff that we need to bring back in order to train our younger generation. And, you know, technology's taken over these days. It's crippling a lot of our people, you know, and I think we need to get out of that way, and we need to start focusing more on living off the land, teaching our younger generation how to do that, you know, and how to skin elk, you know, how to catch fish, how to gut fish, you know, how to make baskets out of, you know, bark and stuff like that. You know, lots of stuff we did like that back in the day. So bringing back the culture stuff would really help, I think, for our community and for our council members to help, you know, push that forward. It just shows a lot.
All right, Ryan, time's up.
Okay, it just shows a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, I understand that another hour has passed. However, I would like to give the floor to Martina to ask one more question, and then we'll go on break. After our break, though, because each question technically takes 10 minutes to answer, with each candidate having 2 minutes, I am proposing that we move the answers to 1 minute. And if you're okay with that, then we can cut our time in half, and instead of being 50 minutes, will be 25 minutes with the remaining questions that we have. So something to think about once we go on break after this next question. And then when we come back, you can let me know if you are okay with the proposed 1 minute change to the answers as opposed to 2 minutes. So Martina, you have a question. Are you still there?
Hi, yes, I'm still here. So if you could put yourself into the shoes of an urban Aboriginal and off-reserve Akiskanooknik for a moment, what is one challenge or barrier that off-reserve members face, and how do you plan to address it during your term?
Rosemary Phillips, are you able to start?
Well, I don't have to put my feet in those shoes, because my feet are in those shoes. You know, some of the the challenges that I think we face as off-reserve Akiskanookniks is, you know, not always being up to date with what's going on. I know with when some of the stuff was going on not too long ago, you know, people had no clue. They didn't know that those things were going on. Access to resources, to services, those kind of things is a challenge. I know that the last time I was on council, we tried to address that by augmenting some of the programs and services that the federal government only provides for on reserve with our own dollars, those kind of things. Basically keeping the off reserve population front of mind, I think, and making sure that we are reaching out, making sure that we are considering off reserve people for things like housing. I mean, there's lots of people that live off reserve that are living in substandard housing, or that are having to choose between paying their light bill and paying their rent. And, you know, those things shouldn't be happening when we've got a band that has got as many resources as ours. So, you know, just trying to make sure that we keep off reserve front of mind.
Thank you, Rosemary. Ryan Nicholas?
Hello, Martina. Thanks for the question. I'm in the same, well, I was in the same situation, you know. I lived off reserve for multiple years, you know, and I wasn't too reliant on reserve, you know. I lived pretty far away that, you know, like I wasn't really too, you know, they didn't really have to do too much for me because I was out there and I was battling, you know, the world on my own a little bit, and, you know, wanted to see what I was made of. You know, but now that I'm back around here, you know, and hearing all the situations everybody's in, you know, and just, I hate to say, like, kind of neglecting people off reserve and everything like that. I think we just need to get good communication, you know, and everybody needs to know, like, one thing is really hard with off reserve people is we're so scattered around. You know, we have lots of people in the interior. We have lots of people in northern BC. We got lots of people in Cranbrook and everything like that. So I think, you know, one good thing is we have lots of housing going up over the next few years back on reserve. You know, that's a really good option for people to come back to the community and give back to the community. And I think just communication with everybody, and, you know, just understanding the situations that they're in, and understanding that, you know, just putting yourselves in their shoes, and, you know, asking what they need, what they want, you know, and stuff like that. Being a good ear for everybody is the way to deal with stuff like that. Because, you know, once you take a seat or if you're elected in, and once you take a seat, you're not in there for yourself anymore. You're in there for the people. You're in there for, it doesn't matter if they're on reserve or off reserve. You know, everybody needs their fair share, their voice heard, and everybody needs to be recognized. And I think that's just the way we got to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan. Alan Nicholas?
Yes, thank you, Tina, for the question. What Rosemary was saying about services provided on or off reserve, they're both, I think, comparably, they're all the same. With Ryan's input of communication, same thing, another valuable tool. But also too, to develop a plan of the number of people off reserve, their locations of residency, to develop some sort of budget, compare a budget of on reserve funding to off reserve, the number of people off reserve. I mean, it's it's particular. There's not everybody lives in the same area, so you develop a committee. I hate to say committee, but develop a team to be able to go out there and find those numbers and get accurate counts of people, where they are and their needs, and to develop a budget and either anticipate. Hello? Oh, just to compare that, but I think developing a plan and a budget, more like a work plan, is, and get a correct numbers, because a lot of the young people move around a lot. They're not settled. So it's hard to get accurate numbers, but that's what we're going to need to determine to bring up a budget of services to provide off reserve or out of province, out of country, we say. But that'll take some doing, and as a team, that's where we would have to settle down and work together on that.
Thank you, Ellen. Darcy Fisher?
So 18 years ago, I was a 20-year-old young man living in Vancouver with my young family. My son wasn't even one yet, newborn basically. The things that I would have needed were connection to my parents, my family, my community, and how do we remove those barriers for our young families and our young people living off reserve. They're not off the membership, they're just off the reserve. So how do we start to bring in programs or resources for them? What can we do to alleviate some of that hardship? Like Rosemary was saying, the decision between paying the bills or putting groceries in the fridge. How do we get to a place where people can survive and thrive and be successful? Looking at how we can utilize own source revenue and create our economic development to facilitate this, to be able to have a slush fund for families that want to come home or to send families to their displaced members for a visit. I know technology has brought us Zoom and Skype and these kind of things, but sometimes you need that hug from your mom or those home cooked meals from your dad, those kind of things. How do we bring that into the homes of our off reserve people? How do we remove these barriers for them? The borders, these kind of things weren't put here by us. So how do we remove that from our being today? And I think with good planning, we can get to that place.
Thank you, Darcy. Barbara Fisher?
Thank you, Martina. As an off-reserve member, I have lived off of it, the reserve, for a number of years. I have always known who my family is, and where my heart has always been. However, being off reserve and learning the things that other people, like, we endure the same things, whether it's on reserve, in different communities, even in a different, like, in the city. We all have those challenges to face. And one of the problems that I've faced is the snail mail. I would make it so all of our people are getting the same information at the same time, because having it from the first date to the 15th, half that stuff is already done by the time that mail gets to me. Communication is a real big piece to keep all of our mental well-being intact. With the recent events, it has turned out to, like we said, a lot of us were unaware that these things were happening in our band. Like I have said, the incompetence of the people didn't make us safe enough to, like, it didn't make us feel safe, knowing that our livelihood was almost ripped right from us. How are we going to change those? It's all about the communication and how all of our voices are going to be heard. It has to begin with the level of communication and stepping down to sit and have those conversations with our membership, all 400 and however much we have. But yeah, the
Time is up, Barbara.
okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, it is now 8:26, and I am going to call for another 5-minute break from 8:27 actually. And once we come back, the first thing we will do is ask for you to answer the question of switching from 2 minutes to 1 minute answers, and then to Mary Jimmy's Q&A that was answered. So thank you, and we'll see you in 5 minutes. All right, welcome back. I'd like to reconvene and continue with the All Candidates Forum. Barbara Fisher, are you there? Darcy Fisher?
I'm here.
Okay. Hi, Barbara. Have you given it thought to considering speeding up the process a little bit by giving yourself 1 minute to answer questions?
I think it's possible.
Yes, okay. And Rosemary, I saw a thumbs up there. Okay, how about you, Ryan? And Alan?
Yep.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so we'll speed up the process a little bit. And with the 2 minutes, we gave you a 20-second notice to help you kind of close up your statements. But with the 1 minute, we'll give you 10 seconds. And please draw your attention to the chat still, because I feel it's just a little bit more polite to send you a note as opposed to interrupt what you're saying. So give you some time there. But right now, I'd like to draw your attention to Mary Jimmy's question earlier in the evening that had been answered, like Rosemary Phillip had already answered it, but it moved it over to the answered section, which thank you, Darcy, for drawing attention to that. I want to give the rest of the candidates an opportunity to also answer that question. And Rosemary, if you want, you can also answer the question verbally or as well. So first, I am going to start off with Ryan Nicholas. Looking at Mary Jimmy's, go to the answered in the Q&A. And Mary Jimmy says, poverty, drugs, and social issues. What is a tool or key that you see will help to guide those have a brighter future regardless of where they live?
Okay, I think that's a very good question, and you know, over my past, you know, I've been down that road. You know, I've seen it all. You know, I've seen poverty, I've seen drugs, I've seen social issues. You know, and I've overcome that, and I think everybody has it in them. They just need the right push. They just need the right motivation, and they just need the right encouragement. And I think you know, getting the drugs off the reserve, getting rid of it, it's a hard time. You know, it's hard times right now for everybody, not just on reserve, you know, off reserve. You know, it's in the world today. You know, it's everywhere. And it's hard to see, and it's hard to see our people go through that, and it's hard to lose people to stuff like that. So I think everybody, like, I got a lot of ideas for stuff like that too, you know. Like I'm not just a sports person, you know. I'm a very cultural person. I'm a very, you know, I like to help people. So I think everybody just need, like, spirit fires, you know, communication with people, you know, bringing people in that, you know, need the help. You know, if they want to get better, you got to push them to get better, and just give them those options and the resources to do that stuff. So I think that's just the way to go, is just communication with everybody, and you know, giving them the chance to be heard. Thank you.
Hi, can you guys hear me? Okay, sorry, Ryan, I wasn't sure if you can hear me. I was trying to give you the cue that you're talking.
Oh, sorry. I thought I could hear you, but maybe the little thing would help too.
Okay, I did put a note in the chat. I have a chat with all the candidates, a private chat. So
okay.
Seconds, so just draw.
All right. Yeah, I have it open. That's why it didn't pop up. Sorry about that.
No worries. I didn't want to yell at you.
Okay, go ahead. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Alan Nicholas.
Yeah, as a person that's gone through a tough time with addiction, with alcohol and drugs and stuff too before, knowing that there was services and people out there to help, But sometimes too, as an individual, you have to take that first step and recognize that and admit to it. And to be able to pull yourself up along with help. It's a social addiction. It's a social problem. It's everywhere. I mean, we see it every day going by on the road on the reserve here. I see it in other communities. I see it in towns and cities. You see it on the news every night with downtown Eastside and Vancouver. So there's solutions out there, but trying to implement them, those solutions are tough. But I would try to help in any way I could to help cells with those problems.
Thank you, Alan. Rosemary Phillips.
Yeah, sorry, Mary, for getting your question put somewhere else, but I'm just going to elaborate a little bit on the answer that I gave. And, you know, I think the sense of belonging is so important in dealing with drugs and social issues. You know, very simple things like acknowledging some of our members on their birthdays or graduations or those kind of things. You know, there's only like 250 some of us, and I think sending people a birthday card on their birthday shouldn't be such a big deal. And, you know, maybe rites of passage that bring people home every once in a while, you know, for those things. Some of our young people that help them feel that sense of belonging. And then getting some bylaws in place to get the drug dealers off the reserve. I mean, lots of reserves are doing it now.
Time's up, Rosemary. Thank you. Barbara Fisher.
Thank you, Mary, for that question. Yeah, like every reserve, we do feel, or we face those problems on a daily basis. I struggled for 16 years. One of the ways that brought me out of it was self-identity, knowing who I am, knowing that I'm a unique person, as in a Dinaka nation. I have Gakwacha, can speak my language and be able to be proud of who I am, to be able to take that to bring it out to the people. How well we do that, we'll celebrate their accomplishments, we'll celebrate who they are, and reminder that they are Dinaka, they are human, and drugs and alcohol will always be an issue, and we just have to be there to be prepared to have those safe places for them to go. Dacha.
Thank you, Barbara. Darcy Fisher.
So the first step is admitting we are powerless over drugs and alcohol, and helping those people to get to that place and understand it's not a weakness, but that it's not for them. And then being able to heal the community, being able to explore and remove the barriers that are there. I don't think anybody likes to live addicted to drugs or alcohol or in poverty. I think the council was on the right track on what we wanted to see as a vision when we hired an alcohol and drug counselor, a healing person within the community. But I think finding that strength within each and every one of us on how can we heal this community. Our language speakers can bring healing to the community. Our old alcohol and drug counselors can do that. Our children, our teachers, these are people that are going to help us move towards a brighter future and to remove those barriers.
Time. Thank you, Darcy. I will now move to Martina. Are you still here? You have a question?
Hi, no, I don't know why my hand is raised, but I'll try to think of one.
I will lower your hand.
Okay.
All right, your virtual hand. Okay, well, let's move on over to the Q&A list that we have here in the chat. Okay, so we have Leona Keynes asked a question. Can you work with people who may have different views, and how do you deal with it? Or how would you deal with it? Okay, so I'm going to start this one off with Ryan Nicholas.
Okay. Hello. Yeah, I can work well with people with different views. You know, it's all about talking and, you know, working stuff out and just listening to what they have to say. So I think that I'm more than willing to work with people with different views, but I think you're gonna have to land on the same thing sometime. You know, you're gonna have to give and take every now and then. So I think that I think just communication and talking with people with different views and just listening to what they have to say is the way to go. So it's a good thing to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan. Barbara Fisher?
Being able to work as a team is one of the key points of great communication. Yes, it is difficult to work with ones that have different point of views, but being able to have a good communication with them and to be able to explain and clarify what the issues are. For the ones that want to work or stay back in the days, it's like you have to be able to speak to them and talk to them and know that you are knowledgeable about the reasons why we want to move forward with particular ideas. And it's all about the way that you communicate with your people. Dacha.
Thank you, Barbara. Darcy Fisher?
Yeah, I can work with people who have different views. I did it for the last 4 years. When I was on council, we all had different views, and the solutions that we came to that is being able to understand their experience, their actions, their behaviors, and their words don't dictate who they are. It's their experience. So understanding that experience and knowing that we're all trying to get to the same vision, we just have different ways of walking there, running there, moving towards it. So being able to listen and to be able to hear what's really being said beyond that experience or beyond those behaviors and actions. It's all about the experience, and our experience is valuable to what we have as input when we're working with our colleagues who might have different opinions or things on the matter. Dachas.
Thank you, Darcy. Rosemary Phillips?
I think we always have to accept that people are going to have different views than us. And I think it's important to try to find some common ground and build from that. You can always agree to disagree and, you know, move on from there.
Thank you, Rosemary. Alan Nicholas?
Yeah, like everybody's sort of saying the same thing about different views. Life would be boring if everybody had the same view and opinion. It builds strength and character to be able to have a different view, but yet as a team to be able to come together and get positive results and positive goals in the bettership of the Kiskonukniks and everybody else in the surrounding areas.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, we'll now move to another question here by anonymous attendee. According to the election regulations and our FAL council members may not be employees for the band nor be contractors. Will you cancel your contracts and employment if you are employed with it by a Kiskonuk? I'm going to ask Barbara Fisher to start.
Thank you for that question. I do not have any contracts nor am I employed with a Kiskonuk. So I have all attention to Chief and Council. Dacha.
Thank you, Barbara. Darcy Fisher?
Yeah, for this one, I'm not a contractor or employee with the Kiskonuk, so there's no contract or employment that I'd have to cancel, but I'm thinking also within section 5 and letter C, I think it relates to being elected, that prior to election and taking your seat, one has to cancel that and then not receive any kind of payment, just to bring people's attention to that part in the custom elections regulations. Dachas.
Thank you, Darcy. Alan Nicholas?
Yes, at this moment in time, I do not have any contracts with the band. But in the future, in order to be able to still bid on contracts, there are legal ways through business structure that you're able to and entitled to bid on contracts. But when that time comes, we'll deal with it then. As recently in the past 4 years, council members in the past used their ability as part of the policy to state, being a band member, I'm still entitled to get grants and funding. So people need to read up on the policies and the code of ethics and code of conduct about financial benefit, whether it be family, friends, personal. So just put that out there.
Thank you, Alan. Ryan Nicholas?
Hello. Yeah, I do believe this question is directed towards me because I do work for the band. I work in the community. I work for Think Bright Homes. But also I have give everybody notice, you know, I'm in this to run, you know, I'm in this for the community and I'm in it for the long run, you know, so I have given everybody knowledge that I am willing to leave my job to run for chief and council. So I got no problem with that. You know, I just love the time that I'm doing in the community and, you know, putting my skills to the test. So I'm just here for the people and I'm willing to run for them and willing to make a change. So yeah, so I would quit my job for chief and council.
Thank you, Ryan. Rosemary Phillips?
I'm not employed by the band and I don't have any contracts, but I did want to correct something that Alan just said. Receiving grants and programs and services while you're on council is only a conflict if those things are not available to everybody and widely communicated.
Thank you, Rosemary. We have another question here. We have non-First Nations working in the band office, and how do we embrace it instead of calling white people working at the office? So let's just delete that last part and just focus on, we have non-First Nations working in the band office, how do we embrace it? I'm going to start off from the bottom of the alphabetical order. Rosemary Phillips, if you don't mind starting.
Sure. You know, the reality of it is that we don't have the capacity to fill all the positions within our band office or within our band. And we should embrace those non-native people that come to work with us and value them for the job that they do. I don't think they should be penalized or looked down on because they happen not to be from Akiskanook or native.
Thank you, Rosemary. Ryan Nicholas?
Hello. Yeah, I believe the same thing that Rosemary says, you know, like we do have a lot of jobs and we need to keep the band running, you know, like can't skip a beat. It's the real world to everybody else, you know, and that band needs to keep running and to fulfill the needs of our members, to fulfill the needs of, we have contractors out there and stuff, and it just helps us expand more. So I think that's what we are going to have to look more into the future and stuff. So thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Alan Nicholas?
Yes, I agree with everybody's statement in most part. And being half Native and half non-First Nations, I am proud of both of them. And I'm able to use that as a tool to be able to work and use it in positive role models. And sometimes you need humor to get the point across, but yes, but capacity building roles is some of the positions they have, but we're just not having the younger generation or individuals to come forward and willing to go get more education to take over those roles of for mentorship and stuff. So
Thank you, Alan. Darcy Fisher?
I think in terms of how we embrace it, I think we've been very open to how we work with non-First Nations band members working in the office. I think we've given them a lot of opportunity. The way that I'd like to see things moving forward is also affording the same opportunity to our First Nations employees. I think there's the ability to have more capacity building and recognizing strengths within our community to fill these spaces. The Halder Ponte report and the Stan Chung sessions show us a map on how to get to a place where we have more First Nations people and we don't have to refer to the other people and saying, why are they doing all our jobs?
Thank you, Darcy. Barbara Fisher?
Thank you, Leona, for that question. I believe that with the CIP working with us, we have to acknowledge that they're taking that challenge to be part of the First Nations community. They want to learn about our people. They want to be able to work in the capacity of how we conduct ourselves as citizens in their world. I believe that with the CIP working with us, that they want to start learning. They want to start understanding our livelihood. To embrace it, we have to be able to know that within our band, we need to start teaching them about us, let it be culture, language, anything. They want to work for us, so let's teach them something. And just encourage a lot more education for the young ones that are striving to work into the band.
Okay, thank you.
Education.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you.
Okay. Last question on our list. How do you deal with bullies? I will start from alphabetical order. So Barbara, you're still on the air. I'll get you to answer this question. Thank you.
Yay. Bullies. Well, we can all be a bully at times, but it's all about conducting ourselves as respectful individuals that understand when somebody is coming to them, yelling at them, and expressing their feelings, and thinking that they're not being heard. We have bullies inside us, and it's just being able to take it, let it go, and be able to move forward, but understanding that there should be a solution to how they are conducting themselves. Dacha.
Thank you, Barbara. Darcy Fisher.
In terms of how to deal with bullies, I wouldn't be firing them, rehiring them, giving them better contracts. I wouldn't be promoting them within our organization, and I wouldn't not bring charges forward for their actions. I would deal with it. We can't be locking people out of the band office and then have no repercussions towards that. And yeah, that's my stand on that. Who are the bullies that we're talking about here? I think when we look at the actions that have been taken, we have to have some sort of reprimand for what that has caused to the band, what that has done for the name of the Akasnuknik. But I think once it gets to a place of that, there has to be repercussions. There has to be a way of dealing with it and not ignoring the behavior.
Thank you, Darcy. Alan Nicholas.
Yeah, bullies to a point shouldn't be tolerated, especially in larger organizations. And depending on, it's getting hard to answer this question because of the last response. So I'm trying to stay as positive as I can. Yeah, bullies need to be dealt with to a certain point. Their actions need to be taken and displayed, but come to a positive solution, and to deal with the issues at hand instead of doing a one-sided conversation. And social media is not the place or event to be using to get that information there. So yeah, there's a lot of play. There's resources there to help deal with the bullying.
Thank you, Alan. Ryan Nicholas.
Hello. I just want to say that bullies, everybody can learn from a bully, whether it's right or wrong. Everybody, sees reaction, and learns from that kind of stuff. So whether it's right or wrong, everybody learns from them. But everybody deserves to be heard, everybody wants to be heard, you have to let people speak it out. You have to open an ear to them. Knowing what they want and what they need is a key to solving a problem, so problem solving is what you need, and to help everybody, be understood and be heard, so no place for bullies, but you do learn from them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Rosemary Phillips.
Yeah, I think it depends on where the bullying is happening. If it's happening in the workplace, then you have policies and legislation to deal with those kind of things, processes. If it's happening just in a matter of interaction, social interaction, or, at the band member level, then, there are a number of different things going on there. First, is it really bullying? Or is it somebody being assertive and trying to get their point across? Or, and is there something behind it? Are they not feeling heard, or those kind of things? So, sometimes you just have to walk away and not engage, but sometimes you have to find out what's behind the issue too.
Excellent. Thank you. So that appears like you've answered all the questions that have come in today, this evening. Thank you, everybody. As we wrap up, I would like to just thank you for all of your time, answering community questions, and sharing your ideas and philosophies. It's so important. In the close of this meeting, I would like to remind everybody about the upcoming polls. The polls will be held by phone-in only, by telephone on Friday, September 4th, from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. The by-election will be held on Thursday, September 10th, from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., not 6 p.m., 7 p.m. on the by-election day, local Mountain Time. I just want to just mention again that this meeting has been recorded, and as soon as we finish this, the video will actually start downloading into my computer. And as soon as we're done here, as soon as it's done downloading into my computer, I will share it with the Kiskaduk administration to share online. Hopefully they can get it onto YouTube. If not, then I have the ability to assist them to get it onto YouTube as a private link so that it can be shared with members who are interested but missed the All Candidates Forum, to provide them with the opportunity to review your answers and your views and your philosophies. And again, I'd like to thank you all for your time. And yes, again, lots of stamina. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Thank you and good night.
Dag,
Bye.
dag, goed opgenisni.